White Earth marijuana raid challenges a Minnesota cannabis law. That's right. 3 months ago, Mahoneman County Sheriff deputies and White Earth Tribal Police raided Todd Thompson's tobacco shop, seizing 7 pounds of cannabis, $3,000 in cash, his cell phone, and surveillance system. Thompson, a member of the White Earth Nation, believes he has the right to sell marijuana on the reservation under tribal constitutions and U.S. treaties with the Ojibwe. The raid came the day after adult use marijuana became legal in Minnesota, and Thompson and other tribal members openly advertised marijuana for sale, leading to the raid. Thompson alleges the raids was a retribution from the tribal council for infringing on their marijuana sales monopoly. White Earth Nation Chairman Michael Fairbanks denies ordering the raid and stating the tribal police assisted county law enforcement. The case raises complex legal questions about jurisdiction and tribal sovereignty. While Minnesota can prosecute criminal violations on certain reservations, it's unclear if selling cannabis without a license is a criminal or civil violation. The 1987 Supreme Court case California versus Cabazon Band of Mission Indians may be pivotal in determining if the state can prosecute Thompson. Minnesota's recent cannabis laws aim to end punitive approaches to marijuana crimes, making charging a Native American for selling weed without a license politically sensitive. Democrats argue the new laws promote racial justice, expunging records and of marijuana convictions and providing opportunities for those disproportionately affected by the war on drugs. Dave Hart, commander of the Paul Bunyan Task Force involved in the raid, emphasized the case's disrespect for the law. However, Thompson asserts they only sold to adults, and the focus should be on addressing heroin, fentanyl, and methamphetamine issues. The fact that cannabis remains illegal under federal law adds complexity, but federal law enforcement prioritizes cases involving minors, criminal enterprises, firearms, and serious factors. White Earth Nation is left to enforce adult use cannabis codes prohibiting cultivation and sale without tribal licenses, and Thompson challenges both state and tribal code, questioning the legitimacy of Public Law 280 and the tribal council's authority. Law professor Angelique Eaglewoman is skeptical of Thompson's interpretation of tribal constitutions and says the raid's legality remains in question, with jurisdictional issues and unclear timelines for the tribal regulatory regime implementation. Thompson is considering legal options, emphasizing that the situation is far from over. So you got someone trapping on the reservation who's a member of the reservation just saying, hey, you know what? I'm opening up shop and screw you guys. Shout out to freedom.
It's so not complicated. First of all, whatever that reservation, whatever the tribal leadership decides are the rules of that nation, are the rules of that nation. If he doesn't like it, so what? That's a sovereign nation. They make their own rules. You got a problem with it? Fuck off, okay? And so, like, how are you going to take issue with the way that a sovereign nation wants to govern? You can take issue, but he doesn't have a leg to stand on. And then secondly,
I think he does. I think he does because if the tribe wasn't that concise with the wording and as far as who is able to sell cannabis, he may very well have a case.
If the governance and rules of how those things are dealt with according to those tribal laws, if it gives him recourse, yeah, but if it doesn't, he doesn't have anything to complain about, right? And so the only thing that gets murky is when you have the United States come to enforce on a sovereign
on a tribal
nation.
land, yeah.
And so, like, if they wanted to enforce, they could just post up at the boundary and then just bust people who are leaving the reservation with cannabis. And then once they cross that boundary, it's actually international drug smuggling, even though that sounds really bigger than it is. But this guy doesn't have any. There's no lane for him if he doesn't like the rules that tribe has set up for its sovereign nation. But he doesn't really have a lot of lane to make a big issue out of that.
What if this guy is part of the tribe? Yarrow?
Hey, I'm part of the tribe, just a different tribe. We don't talk about that these days. But no, I mean part of the tribe or not, if he's part of the tribe, then he is still obligated, whether he's a part of the tribe or not, to follow the tribal rules when he's on sovereign
Yeah,
land.
but you're assuming
Period.
you're assuming that the tribe has these rules in place.
Most tribes are pretty top heavy in terms of rules and regulations and slow moving ways of making decisions. I just think that if he has a problem with the way the tribe runs those sovereign grounds, have fun with that. He might have a claim to say, hey, you shouldn't have come across this boundary and busted me. But tribes often rely on the infrastructure and resources of the United States, whether it's bringing electricity and utilities to their sovereign nation, or it's relying on outside police or hospitals. Even though they're sovereign, they're not completely disconnected, right?
I mean, I guess. What do you think of the fact that they have a Paul Bunyan task force?
I was gonna say the same thing, Jason. I'm saying,
Isn't that cultural appropriation, or what they like to call that?
well, because Paul Bunyan was Paul Bunyan a real person? Was Babe the blue big blue ox?
There, there.
Was that a
Are
real
you saying that oxes
entity?
can't be blue?
Are you saying they're appropriation blue people and blue animals? Like, where are you going with this appropriation thing?
Going with this is
Clearly, it's
Paul Bunyan was the first
discrimination
person
against Smurfs.
body shamed
Mythical
over what he has
mythical
on his feet,
characters?
right? Like Paul Bunyan was the original body shamed victim because of what he had on his feet. Like his bunion shouldn't have been anybody's business. That's in fact
Hey, I see
why
what you did there.
America
Oh,
developed
hey.
confidentiality around health issues, is because Paul was like, yeah, that's fucked up. I'm in history because of what was on my feet. And really, what's behind my socks and beneath my ankles is confidential and should just between me and my doctor.
Paul Bunyan was a colonizer.